This is the story of death and new hope. I'm Savannah. I graduated from medical school and I also have a master's in biomedical science. But I'm here speaking today not so much as a professional, but rather as a daughter who lost her mother to lung cancer. I want to tell you about how cancer cheated all of us out of my mother's opportunity to survive and some new medical technologies that may prevent you from experiencing the pain my family did when I lost my mother. Back in 2014, I was in the US and my mom was in China. I would call her once a week. One day, I heard mom coughing and she told me it was just a little cold. But a couple of months passed, the cough was still there. I remembered back in medical school, professors said if somebody coughed for an unusually long period, it could be cancer. I was really afraid. I jumped to the phone and called my mom. Have you done CT or MRI? Have you checked for other diseases? My mom said, oh yes, we checked for everything. Everything is fine. I felt really relieved, but that feeling wouldn't last long. 2 months passed peacefully until my sister called one morning and she told me mom had lung cancer. And it was already stage 4, and some tumors have traveled to the brain. We were so surprised. It was like getting ambushed by a hurricane right in your backyard. I was asking the question you may be wondering right now. Why didn't they find it earlier, given the time we had and the tests my mom did? Why the images would be okay? And here comes the really scary part. Cancer deceived all of us. It was hiding very close to the heart, so the doctors could not even find it. Now we want to ask, what tools will give us better chance of finding those kinds of tumor early enough so we can still stop it? To punch holes on somebody's lungs with a needle every other month, snooping for cancer cells, is not an option. Doctors tried to take tissue out of my mother's lung. They did not even get enough on their first try, and that already brought a huge risk. My mom almost got internal hemorrhage, which is the medical term for blood running loose inside your body, which is very painful and dangerous. So what could be a safer option? And fortunately, hope is not far from us. I want to tell you about some new medical technologies. The father of system biology and immunology, Dr. Lee Hood, once envisioned a new type of medicine that he thinks is going to transform our life. He predicted that we can use blood as a window to monitor the initiation and progression of diseases. And cancer happens to be one of those diseases because cancer sheds pieces of their DNA into the blood, which are like footprints of cancer. With their footprints, we may be able to report the presence of cancer and even eavesdrop on the progression of cancer. And they can even guide us to therapies because they can let us find the drivers behind cancer, which are the unique coding errors embedded in cancer's DNA. So DNA is the one digital book of life we all get from our parents. That is the blueprint to build each and every organ in our body. Every cell, except for a few kinds, get a set of that blueprint. But if some codes in that book went wrong, our cells may cross over to the dark side and become cancers. They grew like crazy. They grew and they died. They shed pieces of their DNA into the blood. We have a unique name for those kinds of DNA, and we call them the circulating cell-free DNA, and briefly cfDNA. The cancer-related cfDNA was first reported as early as 1977, but almost 40 years later, only very recently doctors were able to use cfDNA to fight cancer. And you may be wondering, why did it take so long? And that is because we need very advanced tools in order to get precise information from cfDNA, and the information have to be so precise that doctors can use them to fight cancer. We simply did not have those tools available until recent years. And now here comes the important question. Why did the information have to be precise? This is a matter of life and death. In order for the doctors to save patients, they need to nail the disease in the first place, which is a challenge because similar symptoms can be caused by very different diseases. To differentiate among all those diseases is not easy. Now let me give you an example. Coughing can be caused by heart failure, tuberculosis, chronic bronchitis, lung parasites, lung cancer, or a whole host of other reasons. Even if it is lung cancer, and lung cancer can come with very different coding errors on their DNA, which we in medical terms call them mutations. And they make a very big difference when it comes to choosing a life-saving therapy for patients. So a good and precise diagnosis is the first step to a cure. A bad diagnosis may mean the first step to death. So if we're to base our diagnosis on a piece of information, and that information just has to be precise. So the test providers, the people who are going to provide us with information extracted from cfDNA to get a report, now have huge responsibilities, and they face huge challenges. It is very important to know what type of challenges they're facing in order to get precise information from cfDNA, because if we are to one day evaluate test providers for the purpose of protecting our family, we need to make sure that they meet standards in those very specific aspects. So the top 3 challenges the test providers are facing are: number 1, the tools to decode cfDNA need to be reliable and have to work really fast. Number 2, there need to be efficient ways to interpret the huge data points we get from the previous step in order to make sense in terms of health and disease. And this is also terribly important. Number 3, the cost. The cost need to be affordable for ordering families. Fortunately, scientific community and medical community have made really great advancements in those aspects. So nowadays, to monitor the progression for certain advanced stage cancer is already a possibility, and this is just a start. And this has already enabled doctors to choose life-saving therapies for certain patients. And there is something even more exciting that is worth mentioning, which is the ongoing efforts to build tests that can report the presence of cancer before symptoms even show. And this is going to be a real revolution for lung cancer patients, because nowadays with the current technologies, when lung cancer is diagnosed, and most likely it is in advanced stage already, which means the choices of therapy and chances of survival are both limited. So with these advancements, we really have a reason to feel full of hope and expectation. It is not easy for somebody like me to feel this way again, because my family really struggled. Sometimes I would ask myself, what can I do to better protect my family? When I look back toward my mother's diagnosis, I found something really important that we did not realize at the moment of crisis and panic. Our mindsets were still in the 1990s, even though medicine was in 2014, because we had that deep-rooted fear for cancer. We were really bullied throughout the years because my grandfather died from cancer, my neighbors died from cancer, and each time somebody was diagnosed, we would say to ourselves, oh, that is bad luck. Those people just got ambushed by a death sentence out of nowhere. And this has become the same old story throughout the years. We felt like, something might happen to us in the future, but we do not know what to do about it. If you feel the same way toward cancer and you have the same fear, I really need to tell you, like I have told myself many times, that this has become a misunderstanding in light of today's technology. Today, we are really approaching that day we may be informed of cancer early on. And today, even if somebody is diagnosed with cancer, it does not necessarily mean a death sentence anymore. So doctors are able to manage some types of cancer like chronic disease already. So we really need to have a brand new mindset and attitude toward cancer. So think about the time we got a cold. We would tell ourselves, I'm going to take my temperature. I'm going to monitor my temperature. I'm going to take medicine. And I'm going to dress warm so this little tiny cold doesn't become a pneumonia. And this is the mindset we need to have toward cancer, because this is what Dr. Li Hood would call preventative and participatory. You foresee something bad coming and you take actions to stop it. The mindset of the past believes that cancer should be left to medical community entirely. There is not much we can do. But the mindset for today and tomorrow need to realize that the entire society need to feel confident and participate in this fight against cancer. When I say participate, I am not talking about self-medication using search engines, which is very dangerous, by the way. I'm talking about participation under the guidance of medical community. The Yellow Emperor's inner canon is like the Bible of traditional Chinese medicine. And there are words of wisdom written thousands of years ago. The wise doctor does not wait until the disease has formed to treat it. The wise doctor would prevent the disease from happening in the first place. That is a very good summary of the mindset we should have toward cancer today and tomorrow. I wish everyone live long and prosper.